Welcome to the Partner Marketing Unlock podcast, the podcast where we break down real co-marketing strategies, ecosystem insights, and stories from partner marketers in the field. I'm your host, Amir Motameni, and today I'm joined by my former teammate, Margarita, who is the partner marketing manager at Zoom. How are you doing today, Margarita?
Hey, Amir. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. It's been a while since we've chatted. And so before we do get started on today's episode and going over the theme for today's episode, can you start by sharing your journey into partner marketing and how you ended up at Zoom?
Well, hopefully we have 2 hours. Honestly, I didn't plan this career. I feel like partner marketing sort of found me. I started at Ingram Micro, so managing way too many vendors and MDF dollars. And then I got the second biggest account there, Hewlett Packard Enterprise. Um, Ingram Micro is the best still. Owns my heart. But then I moved into Alteryx, where I was working with our ISV partners like AWS, Snowflake, Databricks, the whole crew. And now I'm at Zoom, and it's a fun challenge of taking a brand that everybody knows and figuring out how to make partners shine with it. So definitely not a straight path, but that's what makes it interesting, right?
Yes. What kind of partners do you manage today? Are you still doing ISVs or are you working with resellers?
So I actually manage all partners. Our partner ecosystem is growing, and Zoom is now very partner centric. So I love it. It's going
That's
into that
awesome.
direction.
That's cool. So, Margaret, for today's episode, we're diving into a topic that I think doesn't get enough attention in partner marketing, and that's integrated marketing campaigns. A lot of us are guilty running one off activities, a random webinar here, a blog post there. But the real magic happens when you can build campaigns that connect across channels and align with your partner and your strategy. So it's a difficult task. But to kick things off, to set the stage for the listeners, we hear the term integrated marketing campaign thrown around a lot, but it can mean different things to different people. So, my first question for you is when you hear the phrase integrated partner marketing campaign, what does that mean to you?
Um, to me, it's about making things flow together, and it might sound easier than it actually is. I'm sure, as you, Amir, know as well for yourself, but it's basically not just a random webinar here and email there. It's when every touch point, everything that we do connects, like social posts, nurture events, just to make sure that customers feel one clear and consistent story and not get lost into all the chaos with the different messaging. Because when it, as you, I'm sure as you would agree, if it's disconnected, it's just noise and it becomes super irrelevant.
Yeah, and it's definitely difficult to get the partner to shift their mindset to not do an event. Like with partner marketing, it's event centric. Let's co-sponsor an event. Let's do a happy hour at an event. Let's like set up meetings with customers at the event, or like let's just do a webinar and they might follow up with the leads, but there's no real nurture after the fact. And so I think that's a difficulty when it comes to trying to run these more, I guess, nuanced, sophisticated, integrated campaigns where you're trying to do a full funnel campaign and not just one tactic. And so as I mentioned earlier, most of us are guilty doing one-off activities, especially that one-off webinar, that one-off email that you mentioned, a single quick social post highlighting something, and you need to move off those one-off activities and you truly need to try to implement integrated campaigns, and a lot of companies get stuck and don't know how to do that. So why do you think so many companies struggle to move beyond one-off activities and build integrated campaigns with their partners?
I think you just said it yourself, right? It's easy. It feels easy to just do a one off thing, right? It's quick. You send an email, you run a webinar, check the box, you took a customer to happy hour. But it doesn't really build anything, it doesn't build momentum. It just adds clutter. And let's be honest, when we give this kind of leads to our sales teams, the quality is showing up, right, the same way. So integration takes more coordination, it takes more patience, and let's be real, it's not usually the fastest route. So you just need to be prepared that it's going to take time, but be patient, plan ahead, and when you do it right, you'll see that your campaigns actually land and all the efforts pay off.
Yeah, because typically you're pushing them down the buyer's journey. Like you're getting them, I guess, more qualified and ready to talk to sales versus just one touch point, and they might not even have awareness of who we are or who our partner is or what that solution may be. So I think you need to take your time to run these longer campaigns, which could be an issue because sales teams have quotas. They want to get leads immediately. They want to start contacting those leads immediately, but usually those leads don't actually interact with sales or agree to having a meeting. So they get wasted. But um, let's talk a little more about the nuts and bolts of integrated marketing campaigns. So for anyone listening who wants to start building an integrated campaign with a partner, understanding where to begin is crucial. So, what's the first step when you're planning an integrated campaign with a partner?
So I would say that kickoff is probably everything. If we don't align on goals, target personas, uh, KPIs up front, the rest just falls apart because we have our own objectives. Partner might have his own objectives. So I always spend more time than people or other orgs expect on that initial alignment. But in the long run, it actually saves us time because the execution runs just 10 times smoother because you already have a buy-in from partner, you already have a buy-in from your sales and product team, and there are no surprises coming along. So as long as you agree at the very beginning, that's, I think, is the key from what I've seen.
Are you building the campaign brief with the partner typically, or is this something like do you typically bring a partner into an activity or a campaign? Like you come up with the idea essentially, and then you're the one who's managing that process, or is it aligned where you have the relationship with like hopefully the strategic partners, the top partners, where you can actually brainstorm and kind of plan and build that brief essentially before kickoff together?
So sometimes I feel like I'm a part-time matchmaker in this job because it happens, all the scenarios that you mentioned happen, right? It's ideal to have a planning session, a quarter ahead, and bring the right partner into the activity and have a plan together. But let's be honest, it doesn't always happen that way. So sometimes we have to find a partner that is appropriate for this specific campaign, like halfway through, right? It really depends, but making sure that we're seeing plan from partner's eyes and partner's perspective is important because it's partner first culture. I think it should be in any partner org. So we need to see things through their lenses and make sure that it doesn't, it's aligned with what they also want, not just us. So
Yeah, if they have, I guess, a different strategy, like if you're introducing an idea in a campaign and they have ideas that are different, like maybe focusing on different types of messaging, having different types of goals, maybe a different timeline could be the big issue as well. Like they have their own priorities. So how do you align with partners when they're being a little difficult?
um, well, it's a very personal business we're in, right? In the end of the day, we're all people, so finding that personal connection and maybe finding that golden middle with a partner in the end of the day with the person that you're working with probably works best. Maybe trying to meet them somewhere in the middle, and again understanding why they're pushing for that timeline. There might be obstacles that we're not aware of. Maybe their financial year ends on a different timeline, or it's their quarter end. So it's not always that they just don't want to do it on our terms. They usually have specific reasons for the things that they have in their plans. So I guess listening is probably very important, part of our skill set, and kind of opening up your horizons to hearing what the other person through your screen or across your table is trying to say.
Yeah, and with partners, I mean, it has to be a win-win scenario, and in order to have a successful relationship with a partner, you need to cater to their wants, their needs, their goals, and vice versa. It can't be one way. So obviously, to your point, you have to build that relationship with that other human being, have empathy, and understand each other's goals, and try to find that mutual benefit and come up with an agreement. Obviously, and that's easier said than done, but typically that happens with mainly just your tier one, or your strategic top tier partners that are producing the most. Like that's difficult to do across the entire partner ecosystem. So that totally makes sense. And
Yeah,
so, oh yeah, hop in. Go ahead.
just to add, obviously maybe excluding ISVs from that, but if you're working with a solution provider, reseller partners, they're not just selling your own solution, right?
Exactly.
Your one solution. They're selling the solution. It's an end-to-end solution. So you can't be ignorant thinking that all they do all day is sell Ultrix or Zoom. Like that's not really the case. So um, that's something that a lot of partner marketers I think forget. And when they build their campaigns, it's just purely, hey, sell Zoom all day long. It doesn't happen that way, and we need to acknowledge that.
For sure. For sure. So, what are some of the channels or tactics do you think work the best in an integrated campaign? So there's all sorts of channels you could focus on. For me, in the past, I would say email, social, and some sort of asset like is probably the best. So like whether that's first a blog post and then taking that messaging from the blog post and then creating an email sequence and then targeting those same folks hopefully via social media. Those are usually the typical ones, but for you, like what channels or tactics typically work the best in integrated campaigns?
I might surprise you with my answer because you not always think of events when we talk about integrated campaigns, but actually, I would say inserting events into that makes it much more impactful and quicker to get to, a partner or a reseller, whoever. I've seen events and digital nurture play really well together. So I feel like if you just meet people face to face and then keep the conversation going online, it's just cuts you 6 months from your sales cycle. And then when both brands just post it together and amplify message together on social or within, email campaign, it just suddenly feels like you're everywhere. The messaging is coming from both sides, and it's less about picking one channel. It's just more about sequencing them so that they just, I guess, build on top of each other.
So is your preference like post event kind of follow up with the same kind of story and messaging? Because I was thinking personally, and I've done this personally in the past, where you want to do again some sort of asset upper funnel. You want to do some thought leadership, talking about a certain pain point and talking about how your software, your solution, plus the solution provider or value added reseller can provide, and build some sort of asset. And then second step would be doing maybe some sort of webinar perhaps around that same theme. And then eventually, I wouldn't say an event, but maybe like an in-person workshop or training session, like getting a small subset of customers then ultimately in person as you've pushed them down the funnel. That was my thought process, but you seem to say it's kind of the inverse, which could work well. So can you like share like a small example, like real quick, of how you've done that with a partner?
Yeah, and I guess there's no one right solution. I guess maybe I just like sometimes to be a little bit more aggressive when it comes to how we build campaigns. But I think when you start, and most of us already have databases, right, of people that we're trying to get to. So I think if you are starting from that personal touch and having that opportunity to, again, maybe present that success story to them face to face, it's just more impactful in my eyes. And after that, they're much more open, receiving your communications and reacting to your social. Not to say that, again, if you're looking to build up your database, absolutely what you just described, that's the way to go. But if you're trying to kind of use the contacts that you already have sitting in Salesforce or personas that you haven't touched in a while, I would, especially for younger partner marketers or for those who are starting the journey now, I would try looking into events first and then starting building and nurture into that.
That's awesome. And yeah, so you mentioned new partner marketers. I started this partner marketing podcast because there wasn't a lot of information out there. Like there's a lot of information around like just ecosystems, ISVs, like the channel side, essentially more on the sales side or enablement side, but there's not a lot of partner marketing material. There's some stuff out there, but it's not a focal point. So what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about getting into partner marketing
Mhm.
if they are thinking about it? Because I mentioned in my last episode, because my last guest, who's on the channel business development side, said he fell into it. He started off in sales and then account management, and then he fell into the BD world. I started off in sales. I went to direct marketing, and then I didn't even know what partner marketing or strategic alliances or channel, partnerships were. So I just fell into it. So, like, what advice would you give to folks that are looking to get into partner marketing?
Well, I think number one would be uh, realizing and making peace with the fact that it's always chaotic industry. It's just part of the job, right? One day, not one day looks or feels the same. For me, doing what I do, which is right, it's a cool thing. You are never bored. Second, find your partner marketer counterpart who actually cares. It's always easier
Hmm.
to, it's just half of a battle, whether it's your partner marketer on the other side or within your company. Um, and third, be smart with your MDF too. If you're manufacturer, and make sure that your partners are actually leveraging MDF in smart ways and just not another pile of swag. Or if you're the one using MDF, same thing, right? Make sure you see the long-term strategy and not just try to execute a happy hour, which you should not be using MDF dollars for. Anyways, yeah, just have fun with it. And also, I guess, last but not least, make sure you have a lot of friends in the sales org. It makes things so much easier. And when you have those guys on your side, it should be one team. So,
And make sure to have a good relationship with your partners. Understand their business, understand what
for
makes
sure.
them tick, what their goals are. Like for me, a tip also would be just understanding what their I mean, in our industry it's go to market roles. So it's like it's pipeline or revenue, but ultimately understand like what are the goals your partner's trying to achieve and try to help them. Like try to help your counterpart get a promotion, right? Like have them sell more, do more, because that's ultimately going to drive revenue for your company, and that's ultimately going to help you in your professional career. So, I think if you like building relationships, you like marketing, you like people, like you like solving problems, and you like a dynamic role where every day is pretty much different, right? And
Yeah.
you like to manage hundreds of partners. Um, this could be the role for you. But anyway, Margarita, thank you so much for joining me and sharing your insights on integrated marketing campaigns. I think this conversation really highlighted why one off activities don't cut it. Like, obviously, people are still going to do it, we're still going to do it, but truly trying to set up an integrated campaign with your partner is what's going to help increase results and, decrease that sales cycle and get the sales team to close opportunities much quicker. So for everyone listening, you can find Margarita and myself both on LinkedIn, and we'd love to continue the conversation. Reach out to us on LinkedIn, talk to us about any integrated marketing campaign that you guys have ran. Tell us if it worked well. If there's ones that didn't work well, tell us why. So just drop us a message, and thank you again.
Thank you, Amir.